Hi, everyone. So my name is Alexis Valentine, and this is my senior capstone proposal. My topic is on the origins of paint. So I'm a four-year student at the University of Hawaii, West Oahu, and I graduated from Kapolei High School in 2018. My major is in creative media, concentrated in general and applied sciences. So for my executive summary, I'm going to be going through the plans, the thesis statement, the objective, and the significance of my project. So for my deliverable, I decided that I want to deliver a series of 8 paintings replicating Eastern and Western art styles. And I will be creating a website and social media page to share, each step of the process going through it. And I chose to do a project, and the direction or the reason why I feel like a project would be best for the research that I did is because it allows me to apply all the principles that I've learned, and it gives me kind of that freedom to interpret, so it stays sort of like true to the art side of it. And for my thesis statement, I said that contemporary society has emphasized the historical power of color in art and media through the way that it represents the world and conveys meaning, and it encourages creative interpretation determined by internal and external factors. And by internal factors, meaning like personal belief, background, religious background, cultural background, and external factors, as in like principles that you're taught or that you experience through learning from other people. So the reason why I sought out this area was because I wanted to be able to connect, to make a link between cultural expression through art and self-expression through art, and how like the different foundations of both sides influence uh, influence out art. And I feel like a lot of like what goes into the art piece, not just the person creating it or the background that it came from or that it was influenced by, but also like how paint the paint for the art and the pigments, how their story contributes to the piece itself. And I found that very interesting. So my point of significance is that a lot of the resources obtained to create paint pigments were unethically sourced. So a lot of the times, like for example, in my paper, I talked about the color Indian yellow and the color mummy brown. And basically, Indian yellow was sourced unethically because it was made out of cow urine, which cows were starved and fed like mango leaves in order to create that specific pigment. And mummy brown was made out of actual dead bodies. And so a lot of these resources, like, it wasn't taking into account respect for like, living beings. And so I wanted to create an awareness of like, you don't have to like rely on this to get a certain type of pigment to go into your art. So like natural pigments that are sourced ethically are biodegradable and oh, are biodegradable, and usually they don't use like exploitative labor. So in the pictures that I used, they're harvesting mica from caves, and that relies on child labor. And there is this debate in the art community going around whether it's more ethical to use synthetic mica or harvested mica um, in paint, because one of them, you know, biodegrades, although it's sourced synthetically, you know, it's not sourced unethically. Um, and so these were the pigments that I talked about in my paper: Indian yellow, Tyrian purple, and mummy brown. Tyrian purple also exploited sea snails, because in order to make it, they had to kill a bunch of sea snails. And my second point of significance is that Western and Eastern art styles have become less esoteric, meaning that they have converged, and styles and techniques tend to overlap each other. And I feel like the benefits of it is that it allows more freedom and self-expression through different techniques, like different cultures, you know, elements from each culture comes together. Um, however, it does like blur a line in terms of what sets one style apart from another. And yeah, so this is an example of converging of two different art styles. This was a painting by Wen Li Peng, who is a Chinese artist, and basically he did an ink wash on on paper, which is the background, and then he used oil painting for the mountains in the front, which is a Western derived medium. So I thought that was a good example. And also this one, this was also made by a Chinese artist, and it was used oil painting, which is not, you know, also Western derived medium. And he also used a painting technique that uh, follows impressionist art and doesn't go with the traditional Eastern style of painting. And for my target audience, I wanted to focus on people the ages 20 to 45, sort of below what you would consider millennials, and above that age, people within the art community who are interested in art, people who make art because they have a better understanding of pigment and color, and you know, are more involved with like purchasing it and knowing where it comes from, and also people who are interested in art history. um, my proposed solution is that knowing where pigments derive from, how it influences uh, the mediums that different cultures use, and how it has influenced different types of artworks. I believe it helps ties people of different cultures together through experiencing art, and that it allows people to be more aware of the kind of mediums that they purchase. So, for instance, you wouldn't purchase a paint that you know was unethically sourced, um, because it doesn't support an idea that, or you know, beliefs that you have. For the preparation and process of my project, I projected about 9 weeks it would take for me to complete 8 paintings, and um, like finish the updating process in like throughout the website and throughout my social media. I plan to make a schedule with set deadlines for finishing each painting. So I will make like one painting, finish it by the end of 1 week, and throughout that 1 week I will post twice on social media and twice on my website. Oh, and I didn't explain why 8 paintings specifically. So I was planning to do 3 paintings that replicated Eastern art style and 3 paintings that replicated Western art style, and 2 paintings that sort of converged the principles of each art style. And so the materials I will need for that are just oil painting or oil paints, which I have, ink blocks, and calligraphy brushes, and watercolor paints, all of which I have. And I was planning to sort of use colors really close to the ones that I mentioned in my essay, which is, Tyrian purple, mummy brown, Indian yellow, dragon's blood red, all to sort of stay as true as possible to the historical side of it. And I wasn't able to create a mock-up for the website that I'm going to make, but this is sort of the same type of layout where I'll have it all open on like the homepage, and just like, one section that says this is behind the scenes, like while it's being made, what it looks like, how different swatches of each pigment that I chose to use, and also like where to buy them, and also the background of what I did in my research. And this is the mock-up for my social media. I didn't put any like specific posts or anything, but this is sort of the categories I'll have to post on the story. I also plan to time lapse each painting to post on the reels, which reels can be over a minute long. So yeah, that is my proposal. Thank you.